But when does that remembrance become a celebration of what you did? That's my argument. This is my thesis here. When does it not become more about you than it does become about those that we're supposed to be there to remember? Okay, and welcome back to Fast Performance today, and I want to bring up a subject that is going to be really controversial, and I want you to use the comments section to tell me that I'm being a dick, because I probably am. This is something that you're probably not hearing much about in the press, and it involves Remembrance Sunday, or one particular aspect of it that I think is becoming a bit unpalatable, and I'd like a bit of guidance, please, from you guys in the comments. So a tweet hit me, and I'm on the way to the gym, and I just thought, you know what, I'm going to be in the gym trying to lift, I'm putting a bit of weight on, or trying to do my rowing or my skipping or whatever it might be, and this thing's going to be eating me up a little bit, and I just thought, you know what, throw it out to the community real quick and see what they have on this. And it's to do with a tweet that I saw, randomly just came in, to be fair. I don't know who the chap is, seems like a really nice guy. Hugh Von Andre, pretty awesome name, to be fair, isn't it? And let's have a look at him actually, because he seems like a really good dude. Look, this is not against this guy, by the way, at all. I'm a veteran and now support and assist other veterans to find meaningful employment and a happy and rewarding civilian lifestyle post-military service. What is there to argue about that? Zero. This is a top guy, so well done, that man there, absolutely brilliant. However, the tweet here that hit me for some reason is what I want to talk about, and it says here, there's some veterans here, obviously, some army veterans, and it said, I had the privilege of marching with older comrades today. This is on Remembrance Day, and it says, when I asked them about their thoughts on the right-wing twats who surrounded the cenotaph yesterday, this is where it starts grating with me. And I could be upset, fine, you know, you either give offence, take offence, and I'm taking offence at something that's probably not mean to be offensive, so that's my issue. I understand it's my issue, and I'll work through that. But right now, he's labelling all these people that came down to the cenotaph, all the great British public, he's labelling them as twats. So let's carry this on. So he asked these older comrades about their thoughts on the right-wing twats who surrounded the cenotaph yesterday. One said to me, boss, there were as many brain cells as medals on display. When did we ever ask for their support? So again, I'm like, I'm a trigger meister, aren't I? I'm like, hang on a second, because I'm upset about this, FJP fam. So there's a lot in here that we can deconstruct, and I just want your opinion on it, and tell me if I'm being a bellend, because I think, and this is just me thinking out loud, and of course how we think is through speech, isn't it? Which is why we shouldn't allow the repression of speech. And you know how I am with hate speech laws. I don't think we should have any hate speech laws. I think we should hear everything that people being said, but I understand that there are differences of opinion that people have. I think with this man is actually a bit disrespectful. Well, I think it's hugely disrespectful. No two ways about it. But of course he's not, is he? Because he's saying it's not him saying it, it's people that he marched with saying it. So he can say something by saying it's someone else. But he seems like a nice guy. So let's not say there's any nefarious intent on his part. I'm not saying that whatsoever. But all I'm saying is these right-wing twats that these people talk about to him, or he's basically saying himself, isn't it really? This is the British public, mate. This is the British public. This is the British public, and that's what annoys me. This is my friends, my family. I might be a veteran myself. I did 20 years, as you know, in the Air Force and the Navy, but I'm not going to punch down at the British public. And when he says here, when did they ever ask for our support? Every frigging day they ask for our support. Every single day. Every day they give us the support to do the job. And if you come out here outside of the military and you think the British public aren't supporting you, then you're I'm not going to swear on my channel here, because I've got a young lady, she's about 11 years old, and she watches my channel because her father has directed it to her, which is fair enough. But I'm not swearing on my channel. Swearing's bad, by the way. I'm not going to give you a name, but swearing's bad. Don't swear. Don't need to swear. But what we do need to do is understand that these are the British public, and this is the problem. We're punching down at the British public as veterans, and it's rude is what it is. If anything, it's not just rude, it's absolutely disrespectful. These are the British people. They supported you in every single thing you've done. Now, Iraq and Afghanistan, these were political wars, but we're celebrating people not okay, and there's my thing. I've said the C word now. This is no longer about remembering people, is it? When you rock up there with your Kenny Everett medals and everything else, and I get it, I understand that, and you have the bowler hats and you walk down with umbrellas, I fully appreciate that. I fully appreciate you doing that and you going to remember. But when does that remembrance become a celebration of what you did? That's my argument. This is my thesis here before I get a little bit rolled up, and I'm going to lift enough weights in the gym today, fam. When does it not become more about you than it does become about those that we're supposed to be there to remember? Now, guys, hit the comments. Tell me I'm being an idiot. It just flashed me up a little bit when I saw this morning, because I thought, right, okay, let's stop, because I'm being a dick. Let's go across to a support. Let's go. Right, John Wong is a lovely bloke. John Wong, salt of the earth guy. Now, John, he's also the producer for Lotus Eaters, so he does a lot of producing, video editing. Now, when I go down Lotus Eaters, if you're not subscribed to Lotus Eaters, subscribe to Lotus Eaters. There's some fantastic people doing some great work outside of the mainstream media, so you're getting some really authentic, just fantastic content. I'll tell you what, I'll shout out to their page. Now, of course, I subscribe, even though I go and speak on their channel sometimes. I subscribe to Lotus Eaters. I think it's only £5 a month. Some really interesting content. But John's a lovely bloke. He wrote this. His take, that's the common word now, not view but take. We're going to take things, aren't we? We're not going to view things anymore like I used to. What's your view on this? No, that's not cool anymore. What's your take on it? So John says, my take on Armistice Day. Many of my compatriots have urged that it's a trap and that we shouldn't attend. And yes, it's a trap. Everything's a trap, and he's right in saying that. It'll always be a trap. The mainstream media, politics and everything, politicians are going to put you into a trap. And of course, you know, we're going to fall for that trap because we're impassioned people. The British public are impassioned people. Anglo-Saxons, the Germans, I mean, we're all passionate people. And that's what people don't realise, especially with immigration, is eventually it boils up and we're going to kill everyone. Because that's what we do as Anglo-Saxons. We're just going to kill the entire world, colonise it again, whatever. It's just one of those things. This is what John's saying here. This is why I like John. A vast number of patriots in this country are working class. My family are working class. They are North FCs, salt of the earth. They've witnessed the degradation of their livelihoods, sensed the alienation in the homeland, and continue to endure the disdain that the establishment class holds for them. However, they lack the means to articulate their concerns. Yes, they're ill-disciplined and prone to provocations, but their crime is they love this country. They deserve guidance and compassion. Do you remember that white van man who hung the England flag from his, and it was one of the politicians, the Labour politician, took the piss out of him? Remember that? It's that kind of disdain. Like here's the truth. You're in your car. Would you put an England flag on the back of your car? Probably not, would you? Why? Because you're embarrassed. Why are we embarrassed? I'm not embarrassed at all. I'm an Englishman. I work out in my garage under an English flag. English on one side and then the flag of the Union on the other. Okay, I've got these two flags and people go, oh Tim, you're a nationalist. Whatever. Of course I'm a nationalist. I'm labelled by the British government as a white nationalist. I'm not even joking you. The Royal Air Force will brief you that I'm a white nationalist. If you're in the Royal Air Force, you'll have a brief. It will say Tim is a white nationalist. It will also say Tim is a racist, and there was something else it put in there as well. I think it was a homophobe, but I can't remember now. So they're telling people in the Royal Air Force, if I can get hold of that brief, my solicitor will take legal action against the Royal Air Force. If you have that brief, send it to me, guys. I know it's happening, and I will take legal action. I'll put that legal action on YouTube as well against the Royal Air Force. But look, I was on the ground at Armistice Day side by side with Tommy Robinson and Mayor Toosey. So basically there was really poor media narrative about Tommy Robinson, who went there and then left again because he doesn't want to be the centre of this, all right? Tommy and his crew diffused the tension between the patriots and the police. Contrary to what the media say, such as when the police formed barriers causing a standstill, it was Tommy who urged for patience from the increasingly agitated crowd. In another incident post-event, it was Tommy's crew who shouted at the crowd to be quiet as there are family and children present. None of these British men who went down there want to be right. So we are respectful of families. I'm saying we because I'm the same thing as these British men that have come down there today. I'm on both sides. I'm on the veteran side and I'm on the British men's side as well. Do you understand that? This is the thing. Put in the comments, guys, if you think I'm being an idiot. And the reason I'm saying this is I just think that I think the military and I think the police and everyone are losing the British public right now. And it is so sad. I come from a police family. My father's a police officer. My sister's still a serving police officer. I come from a police family. And yet I've actually questioned a few police officers on Twitter today, and I've said, why do you think that we call them the patriots, the British men that came down, were shouting at the police and they were chanting at the police, you've let your country down? And I said, why do you think they've said that? And the police just didn't answer me. And eventually I said, look, I've asked two policemen on Twitter, senior police officers, why do you think that's being said? And I haven't got a response. One of them, a good man in fact, called the Skip, a lovely bloke actually, I've got a lot of respect for him. He came back and said, well, it's a fair point actually, Tim, you know what I mean? We had a bit of a discussion and we think that the BLM, the kneeling for BLM and the wearing the LGBT patches as well, we think that's probably thrown the British public and they've kind of gone, well, and also, the policing has been very two-tier. I think he talks about that a little bit down here, and if he doesn't, he probably should do. But look, it was always a pressure valve that was mounting, and he does say that, between the everyday working class men through decades of mass immigration and state suppression. It allowed them to feel a much needed sense of unity and belonging, and it did, get together. Doesn't justify jobless behaviours, we understand that. Some people will always be doing that. But without that pressure release, yes, it is going to lead to some aspect of civil unrest, some organised, constructive. But I'll tell you why the government is safe with this. is because you're not going to get the safest person to say something to in this country, something negative, to call them racist or whatever you throw away. I'm a safe guy because I'm a white guy approaching 50. I'm not going to do anything. I might have a mortgage. I do have a mortgage actually. I haven't got a job because that went, didn't it? Because I did say something about the discrimination of young white men entering the Royal Air Force, and the Royal Air Force had to apologise to those men, had to pay them money as well, and I had to go up against a lot of senior officers in the Royal Air Force to get that story into the mainstream media, because it was such a bad thing for the Royal Air Force to do. But they're not going to say anything, these people, because they're really safe, because they've got families to look after themselves. So you can go against the British white man, and you're safe to go against that man. You can say whatever you want against that man. He's not going to say anything at all. I'm going to say something on my YouTube channel because I run a business, and I can say something. But these men that have come down, and these patriots, they can't say anything. They can't say anything, and yet they still go down there, faces uncovered, standing by the courage of their convictions. And that's what's important, and that's what makes this country so great, is that they can go down there and we can listen to them, we can have that conversation. And I just think that we're not having that conversation. I think the problem that we've got today, let's go back to that original tweet, shall we? The problem with this tweet is that you're punching down at people that have only ever supported you, and it is disgraceful that you should be, okay, I'm saying Hugh, putting something out like this, mate, you know what I mean? But the truth, and it obviously comes from the older comrades, and they see a different thing for us. But what are you talking about that they didn't ever... when did we ever ask for their support? You didn't need to ask their support because it was always there. It was always there. It was never not there. That's what makes me angry. And calling them right-wing twats, these are people's fathers and sons and brothers. That's the problem. So, in short, and I'll leave this now, because now I'm going to go and lift massive weights in a gym. There are British men that have come down there as patriots to support this, and they didn't need to, and they still went. So maybe we need to celebrate ourselves less at Remembrance Day and remember those people that made that sacrifice. That means you can actually be there and say these things. That's all I'm saying. Anyway, guys, comments please. Look, am I right to be riled up at this, or should I be on their side, like, no, veterans were so important, look, everyone else in the country is a twat and they haven't got any brain cells? I don't agree with that. I don't agree with that for an absolute second. And of course, well, let's just leave it, because yeah, alright, look, I thought I'd throw it out there. Look, obviously, I'm angry at it, fine, nothing against you. I'm angry at this kind of this mentality where the rest of the country isn't as... It's a virtuous post, and that's what the British Army does sometimes, and it seems to be former British Army officers that tend to do this for some reason. I did speak to an army mate about this a few days ago, and he said, well, mate, we think it's to do with how they're at Sandhurst and they're told they've got to look after people all the time, whatever, you know what I mean? I don't got to look after their troops, and so they have this kind of self-virtuous... I'm not too sure what's going on with it, but either way, I think that's pretty disgusting, and I think we need to start remembering, or using Remembrance Day for what it's supposed to be about, not celebrating who you are, going there with your Kenner Everett medals and everything else. By all means, go there. Just keep a low profile. Go there and remember, that's fine. It's not about you. It's about those that served before you. It's not a sign. It's not an occasion where you need to throw out tweets where you slag off the British men in this country that just worked to pay their taxes so that you had a job in the first place, mate, in the military. That's what their taxes went towards. That's why this is a disgraceful thing to say, and I'm going to leave it there, because obviously the man does a lot of good for veterans, and I've got a lot of time for that. I just throw it out there, guys, comments. I really appreciate it. I'll try and put out some better content in the future, and I do apologise for getting a bit agitated about that. Obviously it's my fault. I need to go and lift some weights, but I appreciate it. Tim Davis, Fast Jet Performance.